So next we are going to learn about the dependency of acids on their basicity. So what is basicity actually? I told you in the first video that every acid will release hydronium ions when they are dissolved in water. So the number of hydronium ions they can produce while they are dissolved in water is known as the basicity of an acid. But it does not mean that how many number of hydrogen atoms are present in the acid before dissolving, that many hydronium ions will only be produced. That's a very wrong concept. For example, if we consider CH3COOH, which is acetic acid, you can see in the pink box on the right hand side top portion. Although acetic acid contains 4 hydrogen atoms, but it releases only one hydronium ion into the solution. As a result, we will say it is not a tetrabasic acid. It will be called a monobasic acid because only one hydronium ion will be released. So this is very essential that we don't get confused between the number of hydrogen atoms in the acid and between the number of hydronium ions the acid will produce when it is dissolved in water. So there are 4 types of acids on the basis of their basicity. The first one is monobasic acid. Monobasic acids, as the name suggests, they release one hydronium ion into the solution whenever they are dissolved in water. So the most common examples are hydrochloric acid, hydrobromic acid, nitric acid, etc. I told you about acetic acid already. Let us see once again. It must be emphasized here that the basicity of an acid depends not on the number of hydrogen atoms. I repeat, not on the number of hydrogen atoms. So if there are 5 hydrogen atoms in the acid, we cannot say it is a pentabasic acid. We have to check that how many hydronium ions it will be releasing in solution while it is dissolved in water. Depends on the number of hydrogen atoms in one molecule of that acid, but on the number of ionizable hydrogen atoms. That means the number of hydronium ions produced. For example, acetic acid or CH3COOH contains 4 hydrogen atoms in its molecule, but it is a monobasic acid because its molecule ionizes by liberating only one hydronium ion. As you can see, CH3COOH plus water, it will give you H3O plus, only a single H3O plus, and along with that we are getting an acetate ion CH3COO minus. So we have to make sure that we do not consider it to be a tetrabasic acid. So monobasic acids will ionize in one step. That means whenever they are dissolved in water, there is only a single step for formation of hydronium ions because there is only a single hydronium ion formed. Next we talk about diabasic acid. Again, as the name suggests, 2 hydronium ions will be produced by the diabasic acid when it is dissolved in water. The most common examples are sulfuric acid, sulfurous acid and carbonic acid. These are the easier ones to remember. So diabasic acid, since there are 2 hydronium ions produced, as a result they will also ionize in 2 separate steps. Let us see the first example. H2SO4 plus H2O, it will give you first H3O plus, a hydronium ion, and then HSO4 minus. That means one hydrogen is removed, so the remaining hydrogen is present, so HSO4 minus. This is a radical, this is an ion. Next, this HSO4 minus will again ionize. It will again dissolve in water and it will form another hydronium ion, H3O plus SO4 2 minus. So directly we are not getting 2 H3O plus SO4 2 minus. It is happening in 2 separate steps. Similarly, for H2CO3, carbonic acid, H2CO3 plus H2O, so carbonic acid plus water will give you a hydronium ion first of all. Along with that, as you can see from the acid, from H2CO3, one hydrogen has been removed. So HCO3 minus. Okay. So now HCO3 minus again will react with water. It will ionize and form H3O plus CO3 2 minus. So as you can see, the last ion in the second step, that does not contain any hydrogen. That means fully it has been ionized, fully it has been converted into its constituents. So since diabasic acids form two hydronium ions in 2 different steps, therefore whenever it will react with a base also, it will produce two salts. One salt will be a normal salt. I'll tell you what is a normal salt, and the other salt will be an acid salt. So basically you have to remember that if there is a diabasic acid, there will be 2 salts formed. If there is a monobasic acid, there will be a single salt formed. Now coming to tribasic acid, again the same thing. They will produce 3 hydronium ions into the solution. For example, phosphoric acid, you can remember this name itself. No need to remember any other name because it is a little difficult. Deionize in 3 steps, again the same thing. H3PO4 plus H2O, it will give you H3O plus first of all, and then from the acid one hydrogen is getting removed, so H2PO4 minus. Again now H2PO4 minus will react with water and it will produce H3O plus, and again from H2PO4 minus one hydrogen is getting removed, so we are getting HPO4 2 minus. Next, this HPO4 2 minus will again react with water. This is the third step, and it will produce H3O plus plus PO4 3 minus. You can see in PO4 3 minus there is no hydrogen. That means the acid has been completely ionized. Now there is a very interesting thing out here, H3PO3. There are 3 hydrogens. So again we might have the notion that it is a tribasic acid, right? But it is not true. Let's see. H3PO3 is a dibasic acid because in oxyacids of phosphorus, hydrogen atoms are attached to hydrogen atoms which are attached to oxygen atoms are replaceable. Hydrogen atoms directly bonded to phosphorus atoms are not replaceable. So what does it mean? Just check out the structure of H3PO3. There is P in the center. It will always form a double bond with oxygen. This you will learn in class 11 in much more detail. So along with P there is a double bond with oxygen. One OH is attached, another OH is attached, and then H is attached. This is the structure. So how can you remember this? First of all, you have to do one thing. P will first of all get attached in double bond to oxygen, then a single bond to OH, and then a single bond to hydrogen. After that, whatever is remaining, as we can see only a OH is remaining. If we check out, then it will be single bonded with OH. So this is how it happens. Moreover, how can you remember how many bonds will be there? Phosphorus has a valency of 5. So as you can see, there are 5 bonds. 3 single bonds and 2 double bonds. So total there are 5 bonds. So the valency is also completed. So what happens in such acids where phosphorus is there and oxygen is also there? This is an oxyacid. As you can see, oxygen is there along with hydrogen. Therefore, the hydrogen atom which is directly attached to phosphorus, as you can see, it has been written. The hydrogen which is directly attached to phosphorus, that cannot be removed. And until and unless hydrogen is removed, we cannot get hydronium ion. So only 2 hydronium ions will be produced, and that too from the OH part. So there are 2 OH, so those 2 H will produce hydronium ions. The hydrogen which is attached to phosphorus, that will not produce any change. So that's why it is a dibasic acid. This is also known as phosphorus acid, H3PO3. Okay. So since this is a tribasic acid, so it will form 3 different types of salts, 2 acid salts and 1 normal salt. Now there is only a single acid which has basicity of 4, that is known as silicic acid, H4SiO4, and this, underline this because it is very important. Okay, because this is a very exceptional case, only a single case as such. Next we are going to learn about preparation of acids and its properties. So before we move on to the preparation of acids, let us study its physical properties, which is a little easier. Physical properties, the first thing that comes to our mind is called acids have a sour taste. Always. Any acid which you consume, which we can consume, like vinegar or citric acid, citrus fruits and all, they have a sour taste. I told you in the first day itself. Even curd also contains lactic acid, that also has a sour taste. So acids are generally sour in nature. But mineral acids like H2SO4, HNO3, HCl, they shouldn't be tasted directly, otherwise it can be corrosive, I told you in the previous day. So there are various methods to check its sourness. Next, the physical state. In which state do acids stay, whether in the solid state or the liquid state or in the gaseous state? Some acids are solid and some are liquids at room temperature. So there are a number of solid acids. Boric acid, they are in the form of powder or crystals. Oxalic acid, tartaric acid, citric acid and phosphoric acid, they are generally solid in nature. So there are also liquid acids such as acetic acid, formic acid, carbonic acid, hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, sulfurous acid, but all these are volatile. That means if you keep them in the open, they will get evaporated very quickly. Okay, but sulfuric acid is a non-volatile acid, so even if you keep it in the open, it will not vanish, it will not get evaporated. So only 2 states of acids are there, one is solid and one is liquid. Next, what is the effect on skin? I told you in the first day itself that they are very, very corrosive. They can cause a huge damage on the skin. All strong mineral acids have corrosive action on the skin and cause painful burns. It is similar to getting burned by a flame. Okay, it is very painful. Concentrated H2SO4 stains the skin black. Concentrated HNO3 makes it yellow, and concentrated HCl amber colored. So color is also different. Your skin color will become either black or either yellowish or either a dark yellowish color depending upon which acid has fallen on your skin. But although carbonic acid is a mineral acid, I told you it is safe for consuming and it is also not very strong. As a result, we can easily utilize it in our day-to-day lives and it will not affect our skin. And other organic acids, the organic acids which are produced by plants, they are also non-corrosive. They do not cause any damage. Next is a very important topic, that is called indicators. As the name suggests, indicators are substances which can indicate, which can show. What do they show? They show whether the solution which we have is an acid or a base. So there are three most commonly used indicators. The first one and the most common that you have learned in the lower classes also is litmus paper. There are two types of litmus paper. One is red litmus paper and the other is blue. So red litmus paper is used for testing base and blue litmus paper is used for testing acid. Next we have methyl orange. It is a solution which is orangish in color. And then we have another solution which is very important, which will be utilized in class 11 and 12. It is called phenolphthalein. So this is also a very important indicator. So let's see what are these and how do they show us whether the solution is acidic or basic. Indicators are complex substances that acquire separate colors in acidic and basic mediums. For example, litmus indicator is a natural coloring material obtained from certain lichens on dissolving in distilled water. So they will change color whenever they are exposed to some acidic or to some basic solution. So depending upon the color change, we can easily identify whether the solution is an acid or a base. So the litmus paper which we use extensively, it is actually obtained from lichens. I think you know lichen is a symbiotic association between a fungi and a algae. So lichens are producing this litmus paper by various processes. So we have a lot of natural indicators also which we use in our day-to-day lives. For example, turmeric. If we do this experiment at home itself, if we take some turmeric and dissolve it in water and then we put some soap solution and mix it thoroughly, we will see that red coloration is occurring. That means since soap is a base, turmeric is changing its color to red. So this is the most common example. Next, there are also many other indicators such as red cabbage juice. I think we all have seen red cabbage if we have not consumed it. It is reddish in nature, it is cabbage, but it is reddish or pinkish in color. So that is also a natural indicator. It remains red in acidic solution, but when we put base, it will change its color to green. So this is also a natural indicator. Next, there are also certain special types of indicators who change their smell when they are exposed to acidic or basic mediums. Since we are talking about smell, therefore they are known as olfactory indicators, which affect our olfactory or our sense of smell system. There are certain examples: onion, vanilla and clove oil. Onion has a very characteristic smell, a pungent smell. So that changes depending upon the acidic or basic solution. Similarly, vanilla and clove oil. Clove oil is oil which is extracted from clove, long. Okay, so these indicators which change their smell whenever they are in the presence, whenever they are exposed to acidic or basic solutions, are known as olfactory indicators. So let's see about the indicators which we learned. So litmus will change from blue to red in acidic medium. Methyl orange will change from orange to pink in acidic medium. And in case of phenolphthalein, it is colorless in nature. It will remain colorless when it is exposed to acid. No color change will be observed. But in case of base, there will be a different color change, so that we can understand that okay, this is a base and this is an acid. They are electrolytes. Electrolysis is the chapter after mole concept. So what are electrolytes? Electrolytes are solutions which can allow electricity to pass through them. So if you take a tub of water and if you pour a few drops of hydrochloric acid in it, and if you want to allow electricity to pass through it, it will easily pass. Okay, so they are electrolytes. Why? Because they ionize. They form ions when they are dissolved in water. What were the two ions? One was the hydronium ion. It was the only positively charged ion, and the other one is the other ion which is present in the acid. It can be Cl minus, it can be SO4 2 minus, it can be anything which was present in the acid. So these are the physical characteristics of acids. Next we will learn about the preparation of various acids and their chemical properties.